Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Manisha, and I'll be your host, and it's right 12:01. Let's wait for our participants over here and get started a few minutes from now. If you have any questions, you can put those on the chat or you can raise your hand and come off mute. So we have two questions over here. So let me just take one. What's the best way to develop a PDF that can be populated dynamically? That's a great question, and I'm going to take you into the Decision Studio and show you those. So people who are aware, we are in the Designer Studio of Decisions. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a flow in order to build a fillable PDF that takes in dynamically information. So PDF creation. And now this is right in the Workflow Designer. We would be able to find those PDF steps right over here. So I'm just going to go ahead into data, and we do have PDF. So here are the different steps that would allow you to make changes or create those PDFs. But since we are trying to make those fillable PDFs, I'm going to go ahead and drag in a step, which would just take that. Get PDF. So there would be, yeah, set PDF from fields. So now you can actually pass in those PDF file, which I do not have a sample one, but you can just use this step, upload your static file with bookmarks in available, and automatically all those bookmarks that you have mentioned would be dynamically populated. So for example, let's say you had a field definitions inside your PDF as a bookmark, calling it as name. So now you can just replace all of those bookmarks by passing in those variable right over here under the classification name. So this way you can dynamically populate your PDF by marking in bookmarks. Or you can create a PDF right from scratch as well using the step create PDF. And the next question that we have today is, could you explain how to set up run flows for list? Absolutely. And run flows for list are really great when we trying to do batch processing or handling large chunks of data. So here is the one that it essentially acts like a for each step, but it takes in each one of the for each element. But this runs asynchronously. So you can pass any of type. It can be a string list or it can be your complex data objects. You can just go ahead and pick those types accordingly. And then you can also output a type of your desired choice. So this can be of any type. Despite of you passing an input type of integer, you can always have a string output and that gets appended as an outcome. So once this is done, now you can just go ahead and click on edit flow. And this would allow you to write the logic inside this run flows for list. So you can just run rules or you can run a sub processes and the input for this would be coming from those. So for example, let's say I would like to fetch some data, which is going to be account info. So let's assume that. And now I can just add those criteria. Let's say you want to use one of those attributes coming from those list elements. And I would just pick on account ID equals. And now this account ID would be coming from that list that we are trying to pass in. So you can see I can just go ahead and map those input field. And this is those attribute that is being passed into the list, each one of those. So you can just pick that. And I know I have defined it as a integer. So you can just take those relevant ones and do the logic accordingly and map the outcomes where you can just go ahead and build your data. And this can be dynamic in nature too. So I can just go ahead and say this as sample and click on no results to the path same way. And you can see I can pass in those input list. This can be a constant or this can be again coming from flow 1, 2, 3. And ignore. I don't want to consider any of the nulls. And with this, this gets done. So I can go ahead and click on debugging just to show you the results. And now you can see the output would be a list of attributes since we passed the three elements and each one of those got executed independently and is right over here. So that is how we leverage run flows for list. And it's nothing but a for each step running asynchronously. Those are great questions. Absolutely. We also have another question. Can you walk through creating a page view of a case entity folder? 100%. So people who doesn't know about case entities, so in decisions, you can create your own different type of data types. And out of that user-defined types, case entity is one. And let me just take you into one of those examples and build one right over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a case entity. Data structure right over here and call it as test and just give some info right over here, for example, name. Now that our case entity is created, I would be able to go ahead and add certain details, page views, as well as user actions inside these. So you can notice that this one is a little different than a regular data type that the user generally picks in, or the structure that the user picks in. So right over here, you can just go ahead and add your views for each one of those. So if I just go in over here, it would be right under me. One second. Should be right over here. User actions, trade triggers. Where is it? Where is it? I am trying to find that one. This is page visibility rule, and I would like to create a page. Okay, see list. This takes me right over here. Case editor takes me over here. And it's page visibility rule. Create. This one gives me the visibility. Oh, there we go. Now we do have the create page option on the top. Yep, this is where I was referring to. So you can just go ahead and add a page visibility rule on the top to just create some pages. And now you can actually create a page or dashboard specific to those users or roles right inside a case entity. And now you can just go ahead and pick your existing pages or create a new so that it would just take you into the page designer and those pages would be available right over here, which you can see right. So the page one that we just created is right over here. Again, you can have different type of visibilities as well as validations levied on each one of those to make sure that who is able to view these and do the needful. These are great questions. Any questions more from the audience? Happy to take those. All right. If there are no further questions, I would like to give your lunchtime back to you guys. If I don't see you, yep, I don't see you until next time. So happy weekend. Have a great time.
Thanks, Benisha.
Bye.